Did you know just 5 minutes of anger can destroy a relationship, but the same 5 minutes can save it too? In this video, I'll show you how to instantly calm your anger. No meditation, no walking away, just a simple science-backed method that almost no one talks about. Watch until the end, because just a few minutes from now, you'll feel calm, clear, and completely in control again. Anger is one of the most misunderstood emotions. People often view it as something bad, something that must be suppressed or hidden. Yet anger itself is not the enemy, it's a signal. It tells you that something inside you feels threatened, disrespected, or out of control. The real problem lies not in the feeling, but in the way we respond to it. To master your anger, you must first understand where it comes from and what message it's trying to deliver. When anger rises, your body reacts before your mind has a chance to think. Your heart rate increases, adrenaline floods your system, and your breathing becomes shallow. This is the body's ancient fight-or-flight mechanism preparing you to defend yourself. In moments like this, your brain's rational center, the prefrontal cortex, takes a back seat, while your emotional brain takes control. This is why people often say or do things they later regret. Their words come from impulse, not intention. Understanding this biological process is the first step to regaining control. But anger doesn't just come from physical or external triggers. It's often rooted in deeper emotional needs, the need to be respected, understood, or valued. When those needs are violated, even subtly, anger can flare up. Think about the last time someone interrupted you mid-sentence or dismissed your opinion. The irritation you felt wasn't just about the action, it was about the feeling of being unseen or invalidated. Recognizing this connection between anger and unmet emotional needs helps you respond with awareness rather than aggression. Psychologically, anger is often a mask for more vulnerable emotions like sadness, fear, or disappointment. It's easier to feel angry than to admit you're hurt. For instance, when a friend breaks a promise, your first instinct might be to lash out. But beneath that reaction is pain, the pain of feeling unimportant. Once you identify that pain, your anger begins to lose its power. You no longer feel ruled by the emotion. Instead, you begin to understand its origin and purpose. Understanding anger also means acknowledging your personal triggers. Each person has specific situations that ignite emotional reactions. Being ignored, losing control, facing criticism, or feeling betrayed. These triggers are often shaped by your past experiences and beliefs. For example, someone who grew up in a strict household may react strongly to being told what to do, while another person might feel angry when someone raises their voice. By identifying your triggers, you move from reacting unconsciously to responding consciously. The key to mastering your anger is curiosity. When you feel that surge of heat, instead of resisting it or letting it explode, ask yourself, what is my anger trying to tell me? This question shifts you from being the victim of your emotions to being their observer. Observation creates distance. Distance gives you perspective. And perspective gives you power. Ultimately, understanding anger is about reclaiming your emotional freedom. It's realizing that anger is neither good nor bad, it's simply energy. When you learn to read its message, you can channel that energy into clarity, confidence, and change. You become someone who doesn't just react to life, but responds to it with awareness. So before you try to calm down or stop being angry, pause. Feel it, name it, listen to what it's saying. Because the moment you understand your anger, you stop being controlled by it and start controlling your life. When anger strikes, it can feel like a fire spreading through your body. Your chest tightens, your voice sharpens, and your mind becomes a storm of thoughts you can't seem to stop. In that moment, the logical part of your brain is overpowered by emotion. That's why you need quick, practical techniques that can bring you back to calm before you say or do something you'll regret. Controlling anger in the heat of the moment isn't about pretending it doesn't exist. It's about creating enough space between your feelings and your reactions. And the good news is, you can do this in just 5 minutes. The first step is to pause and breathe. It sounds simple, maybe even too simple, but this is the most powerful technique you can use. When you're angry, your breathing becomes shallow, which feeds tension into your nervous system. Deep breathing does the opposite. It tells your brain that you are safe, that the threat is not as big as it seems. Close your eyes if you can. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 2, and exhale through your mouth for 6. Repeat this at least 10 times. You'll feel your heart rate drop, your shoulders relax, and your thoughts slow down. In less than a minute, you begin to take back control of your body. The second step is to step away from the situation. When emotions are high, staying in the same place, especially near the source of your anger, only adds fuel to the fire. Leave the room. Go outside, walk, stretch, or simply sit quietly in a different space. This isn't running away. It's creating distance so your brain can reset. Sometimes, even 30 seconds of physical separation is enough to help you think clearly again. Remember, you can always return to the conversation later, but you can't take back words said in anger. The third step is to focus on your body. Bring your awareness to how anger feels physically. Notice your heartbeat, the tension in your jaw, or the heat in your chest. This mindfulness technique shifts your attention from the story in your head to the sensations in your body. When you do this, you move out of your emotional mind and into the present moment. You're no longer lost in what someone said or did. You're simply observing what's happening inside you. And in observation, anger begins to lose its grip. Next, try naming your feeling. Instead of saying, "I'm furious" or "I can't stand this," tell yourself, "I'm feeling angry because I felt disrespected." Naming an emotion activates the thinking part of your brain, which helps balance your reaction. It's a way of acknowledging your anger without letting it take control. It's like telling your mind, "I see you anger, but I'm in charge." Finally, give yourself permission to cool down completely before making any decisions or responding. Many conflicts spiral out of control because people react too fast. Waiting even 5 minutes can transform the outcome. Think of those minutes as your emotional recovery zone, a space where you regain clarity and strength. With practice, these techniques become automatic. The next time anger rises, your mind will instinctively reach for your breath, your body will move away from the trigger, and your awareness will guide you back to calm. The goal isn't to erase anger, but to master it, to let it pass through you without destroying your peace. 5 minutes may not change the situation, but it can absolutely change your state of mind. Anger often narrows our vision. When we're caught in it, the world shrinks to a single point of frustration. The person who offended us, the unfair situation, the moment that feels impossible to accept. But here's the truth. Anger thrives on perspective, and perspective can transform it. The key to dissolving anger isn't to suppress it, but to shift how you see what's happening. When you change your point of view, the meaning of the event changes too, and with it, your emotional response. The first step to shifting perspective is asking why, not "why did they do that to me?" but "why am I reacting this way?" That single change moves you from blame to awareness. Maybe you're angry because you felt dismissed, or because you expected more understanding. By asking why, you uncover the emotional need beneath the anger. And once you see that need, you gain power over it. You realize the situation is not just about what someone did, it's about what you feel you've lost: respect, attention, or control. Understanding that distinction makes the emotion lighter, easier to hold. Next, try viewing the situation through the other person's eyes. This doesn't mean excusing bad behavior. It means understanding that everyone acts from their own level of awareness. The person who hurt you may be dealing with stress, fear, or pain you can't see. Maybe they spoke harshly, not because they wanted to wound you, but because they themselves felt unheard. When you step into their shoes, even for a moment, anger starts to soften. Empathy doesn't justify actions, but it brings clarity. And clarity always cools emotion. Another technique is reframing the story in your mind. Instead of telling yourself, "They disrespected me," try saying, "They acted out of frustration." Instead of "This is unfair," think, "This is a chance to practice self-control." You don't have to believe these reframed thoughts immediately, but repeating them changes the emotional meaning your brain attaches to the event. Slowly, you train your mind to see beyond the surface. Reframing turns anger from an obstacle into an opportunity for growth. A powerful mindset shift is to ask yourself, what can I learn from this moment? Every time you get angry, life is showing you a mirror, something inside you that still reacts strongly to external triggers. Maybe it's your need for control or your sensitivity to disrespect. By viewing anger as feedback, not failure, you turn emotional pain into emotional intelligence. You move from being reactive to being reflective. Forgiveness also plays a crucial role in perspective. Forgiveness is not saying that what happened was okay. It's saying, I choose peace over resentment. When you forgive, you reclaim your power from the situation. You're no longer defined by what someone did. You define yourself by how you respond. This is one of the most liberating perspectives you can adopt. In the end, shifting your perspective is like adjusting a camera lens. The scene doesn't change, but the focus does. What once looked like an attack may now look like a misunderstanding. What once felt like chaos may now reveal a lesson. When you practice this mental shift regularly, anger becomes less of an explosion and more of a whisper, a signal that something within you is ready to be understood. You'll notice that when you start seeing others not as enemies but as humans, struggling in their own ways, peace becomes easier to find. Anger loses its fuel. Understanding replaces blame. And in that quiet understanding, you don't just calm down, you rise above. When anger takes over, it's like a storm cloud that blocks out all light. Your thoughts spiral, your heart races, and every word or action from others feels like an attack. But there's a quiet force that can dissolve that darkness faster than anything else: gratitude. It may sound impossible to be thankful when you're furious, but this simple shift in focus can completely transform your emotional state. Positive thinking and gratitude don't erase anger. They redirect it, guiding you from chaos back to calm. The moment you feel anger rising, pause and take a deep breath. Instead of feeding the thought of what went wrong, bring to mind something that is still right. It could be as small as having a body that breathes, a friend who cares, or even the fact that you have the power to choose how you respond. When you focus on gratitude, you activate a different part of your brain, the part responsible for peace and rationality. It's not about denying your anger. It's about balancing it with perspective. Gratitude works because it interrupts the mental loop of negativity. Anger narrows your vision to the problem, but gratitude widens it again. Think about a time when something went wrong in your day. Maybe a colleague was rude or traffic made you late. In that moment, your mind fixates on the injustice. But if you pause and list 3 things you're grateful for, you instantly weaken anger's grip. I'm grateful I still have my job. I'm grateful I'm safe. I'm grateful I can calm myself down. It's impossible for the mind to hold both gratitude and rage with equal strength, the positive. Thought always wins when you give it space. Another powerful practice is to reframe your anger as a gift. Yes, a gift. Every time you get angry, it's an invitation to notice something within yourself that still needs healing. Maybe your anger reveals where your boundaries are too loose or too rigid. Maybe it shows that you care deeply about fairness or honesty. When you see anger as a messenger instead of an enemy, it stops being destructive. You can thank it for revealing what matters to you, then let it go. In moments of tension, try repeating this phrase silently. I choose peace over being right. This short mantra reminds you that inner calm is worth more than winning an argument. Often, anger escalates because we crave the feeling of control, of proving we're right. But true strength lies in maintaining peace even when the world around you isn't peaceful. When you say those words, I choose peace, you reclaim authority over your emotional state. Positive thinking also means directing your focus towards solutions, not problems. Anger loves to dwell on the past, what someone said, what you lost, how unfair it felt. Positive thinking pulls you back to the present and asks, what can I do now? Maybe it's apologizing, maybe it's walking away, or maybe it's just breathing. The power of now is that it breaks the chain of emotional reactivity. Over time, practicing gratitude and positive thinking reshapes your brain. Neuroscientists have found that regularly acknowledging things you're thankful for strengthens neural pathways linked to calmness and resilience. In other words, the more you practice gratitude, the harder it becomes for anger to dominate you. You're training your mind to return to peace automatically. Remember, gratitude doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means facing them with a calm, open heart. When you shift from frustration to appreciation, from bitterness to understanding, you rise above the emotional storm. You begin to live with intention rather than reaction. And in that space of peace, you don't just control your anger, you transform it into strength. Anger may come and go in moments, but mastering it is a lifelong practice. It's not enough to know how to calm down once you're upset. You have to build habits that keep you centered every day, even before anger appears. Think of emotional control like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. And with consistent practice, you can reach a point where anger doesn't control you at all. It simply passes through, leaving wisdom behind instead of destruction. The first and most effective daily habit is meditation. Just 5 minutes each morning can transform your emotional resilience. Find a quiet space, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Notice your thoughts, but don't fight them. Let them come and go like waves on a beach. Meditation strengthens the part of your brain responsible for awareness and impulse control, the same part that helps you pause before reacting in anger. Over time, you'll find that even when life throws chaos at you, your mind stays grounded like a calm lake in the middle of a storm. The second habit is journaling your emotions. Each evening, take a few minutes to write down moments that made you upset, even small ones. Ask yourself, what triggered me? Why did it affect me so much? What can I learn from it? Writing helps you process your feelings consciously, rather than letting them build up subconsciously. It turns emotional clutter into clarity. You may start to notice patterns, certain people, words, or situations that ignite your anger more easily. Once you recognize these patterns, you can plan how to handle them differently next time. The third habit is physical activity. Exercise is one of the healthiest ways to release pent-up anger and stress. When you move, whether through running, yoga, or even a brisk walk, your body releases endorphins, which act as natural mood stabilizers. Physical movement transforms the energy of anger into motion, momentum, and empowerment. Instead of letting that fiery energy explode in arguments, you channel it into strength and growth. In addition to these 3 habits, practicing mindful communication every day can make a huge difference. Most anger arises from misunderstandings or miscommunication. Train yourself to listen fully before responding. When you speak, use calm and clear words. If you feel irritation rising mid-conversation, pause, breathe, and continue only when you're ready. It's not weakness to stay silent, it's wisdom. People who master silence in moments of tension often gain the deepest respect. It's also important to set healthy boundaries. Sometimes anger is a sign that you've been saying yes when you wanted to say no. By defining your limits clearly, with kindness but firmness, you prevent resentment from building up. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors that open and close when you decide, and that decision is where peace begins. Remember, controlling anger isn't about never feeling it again. You are human, and emotions will always exist. The goal is to respond, not react. To feel the emotion, understand its message, and release it before it turns into pain. Every day that you meditate, journal, move your body, and speak mindfully, you strengthen the foundation of emotional balance. In time, you'll notice something remarkable. Situations that once triggered rage no longer disturb you as much. You'll pause naturally, reflect effortlessly, and act with compassion instead of aggression. That is emotional mastery, not suppression, not denial, but full awareness. So make emotional control a lifestyle. Let peace be your daily practice. When anger visits, welcome it, listen to it, and let it go. You'll discover that true strength doesn't come from winning arguments. It comes from winning yourself. Anger is natural, but how you control it defines who you are. In just 5 minutes, you can choose calm over chaos, understanding over hurt. If this video helped you feel even a little more peaceful, comment below. I feel calmer now. As a reminder to yourself and to spread positivity to others. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because here, every video helps you master your emotions and take back control of your life.